Hello everyone and welcome. I wanted to do a little video on the control panel. I've had quite a few questions on the control panel that I built. I figured it's easier to just do a quick video, explain a few things, how I did it and whatnot. So here we go. This is actually the second control panel that I built. The first one was plexiglass, and I broke it drilling some holes in it. So if you're going to do one, don't use plexiglass, use Lexan. It costs more. It's 2 or 3 times more than the plexiglass, but I put it through some heavy testing, drilling, scratching, scraping, bending, and it wouldn't break. So I spent about 40 hours making the first one. I broke it. I had to start all over. So this is a piece of Lexan. I got it at Lowe's. You can get it at Lowe's, Home Depot, your glass shop. I cut it to size, built a wood frame. Automotive pinstriping, that's what I placed on the outside of the Lexan. I designed the track plan with RR track, so I blew that up into a I don't know, 30-inch by 18, whatever this turned out to be. So I enlarged the size using Photoshop. If you don't know how to use Photoshop, you can take it to Office Depot or any office supply sign making place and they'll make it for you. But I took the file down there, they blew it up, and they printed the track plan full size. So when I went and bought the Lexan, I cut it to shape, to size. I took my full size printout of the track plan and I taped it to the back of the Lexan because it's clear, you can see through it. So once it's taped, then you take your automotive pinstriping and just lay it out. I know a lot of guys do the 45-degree angle or just straight lines, but the automotive pinstriping, if you take your time, you can make the curves, and all I did was follow the lines of the track plan. I used different colors for the different main lines. The red and black are the 2 upper main lines. The blue is the lower main line. All the silver is the engine service area. We're going to have all this filled in, but we haven't got this part of the layout finished yet. In fact, the bench work hasn't even been finished for this. So there is a switch coming off in here. We'll have some industry tracks in there. We'll fill that in later because the pinstriping goes on the outside. I just put these in recently for the diesel service area, added the toggles. Most of the drilling for the toggles and the LEDs were done before I built the frame and mounted this thing, but because it's Lexan, it's very durable. All these toggles, LEDs were just added a couple weeks ago. You can drill it. I do suggest you buy a couple brand new drill bits that are sharp. Put them aside, only use them for the Lexan. That way they stay sharp, you don't have any problems twisting, binding, cracking. Once I had all the track laid out with the pinstriping, I just painted the back of it with white paint. That's where you get the white from. It was covered with white spray paint, and then over the white I sprayed it gray just to protect the white. Now when you do drill this after the fact, some of these holes will crack, chip the paint off, which is no big deal. You can touch it up from the back, but you're not going to really see it anyway. Now as far as the toggle switches, I have single pole, single throw for block power. All the roundhouse tracks, the diesel tracks, some of the sidings, they all have a single pole, single throw toggle. All it does is turn power on and off to that siding. So we can pull a train in here, kick the toggle down, power turns off. Same with all the roundhouse tracks, diesel tracks. You pull your power in here, kill the power. That way if you have MTH, you're not running up the hours on your PS2 or PS3, whichever you're using. All the turnouts are controlled with double pole, double throw toggles. I did most of the wiring of those toggles at the bench before I installed them, just for convenience, because the way that the double pole, double throw works with a Tortoise Switch machine is to reverse the polarity. The switch gets wired to the center lugs, and the outer ones you have to cross wire to reverse the polarity when you throw the switch. So I cut small pieces of wire and connected, soldered from opposite corners, and had all that done at the bench before I put these in. I'll show you a picture of that here in a minute. Now for the LEDs, I found these chrome bezels online. It comes with a little cap. You can put the LED in there. So you push the LED in. I used bipolar LEDs, 2 legs. These are green, obviously, and yellow. So you just stuff the LED in the bezel, and the cap has 2 holes in it. If you're using a 3-legged LED, you can just cut the back of the cap out with an X-Acto. We feed the 2 legs in there, push the cap in there, and your LED's in the bezel, and it holds tight. And that's what all these are. They're bipolar green and yellow switch indicators. So when we throw a switch, it will go from green to yellow. Green is normal. Some of the switches are in the curved position for normal, like these here on this siding going to the inbound and outbound tracks. Curved is green, and if you throw the switch straight to get into the turntable, we go yellow. That was just personal preference. I know a lot of people use red and green, separate LEDs. The other reason is because if you have 2 separate LEDs, one red and one green, one of them is always going to be dark anyway. So if you're lined for straight track and you got the green one, the red one isn't going to be illuminated. When you throw the switch for the alternate route, then the red one would light up and the green one would go dark. So this way, every LED on the board is always illuminated, either red or yellow. Plus, like I said, it saves a lot of wiring inside the panel. You can see I put in terminal strips. All the toggles are wired to the terminal strip, and then the other side of the toggle goes to track power or to the actual Tortoise Switch machine, depending on whether it's a block toggle or a Tortoise Switch machine. All the purple wires, they are 22 gauge because they're going to the Tortoise Switch machine. It's 12 volts, doesn't take much power, so I use a small gauge wire. All the red wires are power feeds for the block power controllers, to my sidings, to the engine service tracks. I got 5 of those in there. I still have probably 10 more Tortoise Switch machines to wire up, and all the tracks for the roundhouse and the steam service area. So there's going to be a lot more wires going in this thing when it's all said and done, but for now, that's what it looks like. Now, as I explained and showed you with the picture, a lot of this wiring, well, the reverse polarity I wired at the bench with the clamps. The blue crosses from the top to the bottom corner, the yellow. I just used different colors so I could keep them the same. The center toggles, the purple wire, these go to the switch and the LED. Now, one leg of the LED goes to the center leg of the toggle. The other center leg goes to the wire that goes to the Tortoise Switch machine, and the opposite leg of the LED also goes to the Tortoise Switch machine. There's no resistors, no capacitors, nothing required, and this is what I didn't understand. By no means am I an electrician, an electrical engineer. I don't know any of this stuff. I did a lot of research, a lot of reading, asked some questions. The Tortoise Switch machine instructions show you how to wire it with LEDs, and they tell you that they're not requiring resistors or capacitors. Now, their diagram shows you using 2 LEDs, a red and a green. Because I only used 1 LED, the wiring is the same, except for the fact that you're not wiring one leg of the green to one leg of the red. I'm only using a yellow-green, 1 LED, so one leg goes to the center of the toggle. The other leg goes to one wire, one side of the Tortoise Switch machine. The other side of the Tortoise Switch machine goes to the opposite side, center lug of the double pole, double throw switch. Now you see the red and the green, this is the power feed. I daisy chained all these together so I have two power packs feeding this whole control panel. We have a left and a right side. So the red and green is the left side of this control panel, and on the other side I use black and white. You can see the red and the green and the black and white. But each switch goes red to green to the next toggle, red to green. So I only have one feed coming into one toggle, and then they're daisy chained all together. There's going to be 40 some toggles on here. Well, actually about 30, because I've wired the crossovers to one toggle. So when you throw a crossover, one toggle controls both of those turnouts for the crossover, just to save some wiring. And if you throw one, you have to throw the other one anyway, so you can wire them together. Now, one thing I can tell you, I learned, it was a bonehead mistake. I should have known that, common sense. But when you're wiring these LEDs, the resistance comes from the Tortoise Switch machine. So as long as you're connected to the Tortoise Switch machine and you power it up, the LEDs are not getting full voltage. Well, I had it plugged in before I had the Tortoise hooked up, so when I applied power to the toggles, the LEDs were getting a full 16 volts. It's a 12 volt wall wart, but with no load it puts out 16 volts. So every time I turn around, I was burning out the green side of the LEDs, and I realized, like I said, brain fart on my part, but because they were not connected to the Tortoise Switch machine, there was no resistance limiting the power to the LED, so I was burning them up. Not easy, not hard to replace, but you just have to unsolder here and here, pop the LED out, put a new one in, and resolder it. Now, when you look at your control panel, and for instance, mine are up, is normal, gives you a green indication. If yours happens to be wired backwards and your switch is normal position up and you have a yellow indication, all you have to do is switch these two wires around, because you got positive, negative. Actually, it's green and yellow, so you just switch the two wires. I've figured out from doing it so often that my positive leg, the long side, gets wired to the toggle, and the short leg, the negative side, or the yellow, gets connected directly to the Tortoise Switch machine. So when I hook them up and try them for the first time, up is green, down is yellow. As I mentioned, this Lexan is pretty durable. It won't crack or break, but it will chip the paint off, because it gets dry, and when you drill holes in after the fact, the paint does chip off. That's what you see here and here. It's not a big deal. You drill these holes for the bezels, the paint chips off, put your bezel in. I just use a little white paint, touch it up there. Same here. I think I bumped this one with the soldering iron, so I just put a little white paint on there, covers it up. You don't even notice it from the front side. Here's all the single pole, single throw block toggles for the roundhouse tracks. You can see they haven't been wired up yet. These are the toggles that I just put in for the diesel service facility, the 3-track diesel shed over there, plus the extra outside track. I just wired those in. I had to drill 12 holes for the toggles, the LEDs, and the only problem I had drilling those holes with the panel already mounted was chipping a little bit of paint around the hole. But like I showed you, you touch that up with some paint. Also, if you can see in there, I put nylon washers between the toggle and the Lexan just to protect it, because when you're tightening it up with the socket from the other side, they may turn a little bit, And if you use the lock washer that they come with, it scratches the paint off, and you can see it from the side. So I got some nylon washers that go in between all the LED bezels and all the toggle switches just to protect the paint. So that's the control panel. I hope I answered some of the questions the best I could. Very simple. Double pull, double throws for the Tortoise. Single pull, single throw for block power. We got automotive pinstriping. Lexan. Please remember, make sure you use Lexan, not plexiglass. You can use separate LEDs. You can have a red and a green. These are bipolar, two different colors in the same LED. You can also get plastic bezels instead of the chrome bezels that I use. The plastic ones are cheaper, but a bag of 20 of the chrome ones was only a few dollars, so we decided to go with chrome. And you can see that there's a lot of wiring in there, and I'm not an electrician, as I stated, so if I can do this, if I can figure this out, any of you guys. Thanks for checking it out, and I hope I've answered all your questions.